So Haydar,
Hey,
divisional franchisor for the Gym's Cleaning Group. Now, people follow the Gym socials. They will see you everywhere and anywhere on the socials all the time, which is great to see. But we wanted to do a bit of a longer interview today. It's 2025. Obviously, Gym's Cleaning Group's got a lot of big plans. So let's
yeah,
talk about those. But also go into detail about the franchise offering, common questions you get asked, and a few personal questions about yourself in regards to business and entrepreneurship. Because you've been going for more than 20 years now, and you've
yeah,
got the biggest cleaning franchise in Australia, the Southern Hemisphere, actually. So we're just going to ask you about that as well. So let's start with the 2025 plans for the Gym's Cleaning Group. Maybe tell us some numbers because you're a data man. So
yeah.
what are the numbers at the moment?
Well, you kind of got me a little bit off guard. I haven't checked for a couple of weeks. Last I looked, were collectively 1,700 franchisees within the cleaning group.
Yeah.
Predominantly cleaning, which is over 1,050 or so, and the other smaller divisions make up the 1,700.
I think car detailing's just cracked 200 for the first time.
Correct.
Window and pressure cleaning's more than 100, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
140.
There you go.
Carpet's over 100 now. Probably the only one that's struggling is blind cleaning and repairs, and that's always historically struggled. We just, for some reason, we can't get that right. But it's still a very good division.
And I was going to say then, so people might be thinking, compared to other cleaning franchises, which can probably do all those services under the one banner, why is it a separate division for each one?
Sure. Yeah. Initially, we started off allowing all franchisees to do every service, and we worked out that to be a specialist in an industry, you need the right training and the right equipment. Say carpet cleaning, for instance, minimum investment for the machinery is about 15,000 and it goes up to about 50, 60,000. So the more you spend on your machinery, the better job you're going to get, and the faster you're going to do it. So we just thought if we separate them, and then each franchisee can be a master of what they do, predominantly, what do they say? Jack of all trades, master of none, and that's kind of what was happening initially. But now, whoever does carpet is almost like a carpet doctor. They know everything about it. They understand the fibres, the drying time, and it works so much better. So the customer gets more value because they get a better job, and the franchisee gets more rewards because they can actually do a better job, and there's no callbacks or complaints. So it's pretty good.
No, it is very good. And I think that's the thing where customers need to know the value because if they get some people just want to do price and pay $30 an hour and all that sort of stuff and they have a bad experience and they come to gyms. So is that for you the biggest thing probably from customers to know is just the person they're getting from the cleaning group is just a specialist in that activity?
Correct.
Yeah.
That is probably our biggest power, that whoever's doing the job is fully trained and insured for that service. And they're all, like I said, almost like a doctor in that field. And the most good thing about it is we're now become available. So if you call a carpet cleaning franchisee anywhere in Australia, we've got someone available for you, or a carpet or a cleaning franchisee. They're always available, and that's probably the second biggest power that we have, because it's so easy to book an independent on the phone, but it doesn't guarantee they're going to turn up. You know what I mean? Very
true.
So with gyms, it is guaranteed that they're going to turn up, because if they don't, there's a bit of a process that goes behind it. And in fact, it's on Jim Penman himself. It's on his desk if there's a complaint.
I think in your industry, it's probably the one where people want to have the most trust with the police check, with the insurance, but also the work guarantee. So maybe you want to just talk about the work guarantee in a bit more detail.
We do have a work guarantee. We would like the opportunity to come back and fix it as many times as it takes. It's very rare these days because, like I said, most of our franchisees are fully trained in that industry, and it's rare that mistakes happen. The biggest complaint that we have is running a bit late and things like that, but it's rarely workmanship. But if it does happen, there is a 100% guarantee.
The only reason why I want to mention that is because when people go between providers, there's one thing the Gyms Group which can guarantee is the police check side of it, the insurance side of it, but also the work guarantee side of it, and all the other platforms or all the other locals or people in the Facebook groups. You just don't have that as a customer, that backup.
Exactly. We might be considered a little bit more expensive, but it's due to those things that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think once people they try somewhere else, maybe first to go the cheapest option, they have a bad experience, then they come to gyms and goes, it's better with gyms. So
I've personally been there and done that. We all have, I'm sure. You give it a go and then you realise, shit, what a mess.
Now, you mentioned you got around 1,700 franchisees in the cleaning group in total. So the mowing division has around 2,100.
Correct.
So it's creeping up. Yeah.
Well, I started this game in 2001, and early on I just realised, look, I need some sort of carrot or goal, and I made myself the goal to be bigger than mowing. And every year that is the goal. And Jim Penman knows this. And we talk about it regularly. So at the moment, we're growing at 10%, right? So 10% of 1,700 would be 170 plus the ones that we bring on. So, and if mowing's not doing it 10%, I don't want to say what their growth rate is, but at this rate, within the next 2 years, we are going to be bigger than that. That means I win.
And what have you got planned for that celebration?
I don't know. I've had a lot of ideas throughout the years. At the moment, I'm not sure. If anyone's got any ideas, bring them forward. 1 year I promised everyone if we reach a certain growth rate, I'll take everyone to Bali, the office team that is.
Yeah.
I never did it, so I do apologise. Something a bit more realistic. Yeah, I'll be looking at. It's going to be special, that's for sure.
Now, why are people choosing Jim's Cleaning? Because there's a lot of franchises in Australia, and there's a lot of cleaning franchises that I see popping up, and they're trying to replicate a lot of what Cleaning Group does. But why do you think people are choosing you guys?
Well, firstly, our brand is very, very strong, and public recognition is, I think it's still at 96%, which is pretty high. So we're well known, well trusted. The customers know that we're insured and all that sort of stuff, so they're happy to pay that little bit extra. So if you join us, you are going to get a lot of work because we recognise out there. Number two, you're going to be able to charge top dollar for it because you're going to be trained, you're going to be insured, you're going to be all those things that customers are looking for. Perfect. Well, what else do you want? I mean, there are franchises you could buy, but you don't get work. And I've seen them over the years come and go. Jim's is a 30-plus year business, maybe more now, maybe 40.
40 years nearly, yeah.
40.
Yeah.
So 40 years we've been doing this. We're not going anywhere. And there might be a competitor of ours who started a year ago. Are they going to be here next year? I can rattle off probably 15 that's come and gone. So,
now, do you want to talk about the lead gen side of it or the quality of the leads? Because I think that's really, really important. The reason why I say so, I've had a cold call once from another cleaning franchise, basically trying to source work for the local franchisee, which I thought was a bit embarrassing. Like, why you need a cold call for?
It's a shame.
That sort of thing. So, maybe just talk about the lead gen side of it from your perspective.
Well, these days we get a lot of leads, and in fact, unfortunately, we knock back still a huge number, and it's in the tens of thousands. I think it is still. We collect an advertising fee or a levy from each franchisee. So we've got 1,700 franchisees, and the levy averages around $160 a month each franchisee. So if you do your numbers, I think it comes to around $300,000 a month that we spend on marketing, predominantly online. So we're everywhere. When you're everywhere and you're good at what you do, you got 1,700 vans driving around. You've got the other divisions indirectly advertising for us too. Mowing, doing good work gets us work. It's just an amazing recipe. Early on, it was difficult. When we didn't have much money to spend, we struggled getting work. But now with these sort of the money pools that we have, it's easy.
I was going to say then, the actual advertising levy, which is I think 160, 170 a month, it's actually really, really cheap.
Well,
so if people are watching, it's so cheap, even though it sounds like it's a lot combined, but that actually is a really cheap advertising levy. We got other franchises charging 12% of turnover or whatever it is. It's actually a really, really cheap figure compared to a lot of others.
100%. Good point there.
Yeah, the reason why I asked it, because I've done some interviews and stuff with American-based franchises and stuff, and they couldn't believe how cheap the advertising fee with Jim's. Their advertising fee in similar home services in America, for example, were like $2,000 a month minimum. So per unit.
Well, that's kind of what it takes, Joel.
Yeah.
Like, when we start a new franchise in a remote, brand new area, and there's not many brand news left, but if we do, we know that it's going to cost us a couple of thousand a month to get them going. But then it comes a time when the ball's rolling and then there's a few franchisees there and we can share the costs.
Yeah.
And that's why we can do it, because ours, it's a numbers game. Like if you had one franchisee in one town, yes, the $160 won't be enough, and I would have to chip in from my own pocket. But the process is that, we put 2 or 3 franchisees, and collectively we can advertise more, and everyone benefits. So we worked out that the cleaning industry is, I think it's about $2.6 billion turnover in Australia. Or that's the pie.
Like total, yeah.
Yeah, in total. Do you want to have a guess what share we have of that $2.6 billion? Jim's Cleaning, the largest cleaning franchise in the country, if not the Southern Hemisphere. What percentage of that do you think we have?
25%.
No.
How much?
It's about 1%.
Oh, 1%, that's it. Okay, I thought it'd be more.
Well, let's work it out. 2.6 billion. Well, it could be more. I don't know. But we have about 1% market share.
Yeah.
So our goal is to get 2% market share, right? And the way we're going to do that is we need more penetration in each area. So if you've got one van, by having the second or third van driving in that area, it compounds everything. And we know this from experience because we've got 30 years of data. That's a goal that we're trying to work out this year. That's what we want to achieve, at least 2% market share.
That's a really good goal. And I was going to say, I think everyone knows that because I'm stuck in traffic every day and I'm always next to a Jim's cleaning vehicle or a Jim's mowing van or something like that. So I think the traffic gridlock at the moment is probably working for us in terms of the branding with the vehicles. Yeah. But that's a really good goal. And I thought it would be a lot more actually, because obviously there's so many franchisees, but it just shows the potential for growth still.
Well, all right, you bring up traffic, and I'd like to talk about that. See, our process, Joel, is we have a computer program called FMS, and you know that. You know it very well. So you can actually choose which suburbs you get your leads and when you want them. So the biggest problem we have in Australia at the moment is traffic, right? So if you can pick to get leads closer to your home or your territory, and it keeps you closer, you don't have to travel as much, that is probably another differentiator between our competitors.
Yep.
Because, you can buy another franchise, but it doesn't guarantee that you're going to work locally. We can.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because that's a really good point that people should consider when looking at multiple options. Is about how they source your work, but also where do you have to go and take the work from.
Yeah.
And the Jim's Online FMS system, for those who don't know, is allows you to fully customize what services you want to do, where you want to take the leads.
Correct.
All that sort of stuff. And
you can change it at any moment, daily, weekly, whatever you want. Keep compounding it and keep making it smaller and smaller. There's nothing better. Get up in the morning, go out, do a job, come back home, have a cup of tea, maybe pick up your daughter from school, go out, do another job, instead of just spending half your day in traffic driving around.
I spoke to a franchisee the other day and he doesn't have one job more than 10 minutes from home. Fantastic. And if he ever picks it up, he might do it and then he sells it off to someone else. So
Smart guy.
It's a great system where we can do that. Whereas you're right, whereas other options, I don't think that'd be the case. I think you'd have to go all around everywhere to start, and I don't think that would be an option.
And it's a shame because this recipe, it's an amazing recipe. There are a few franchisees who are actually not following this recipe, though. I'd like to be clear on that too. There are some who just open up their area so much and they think it's good. They're getting work an hour away and they're stuck in traffic, wasting their time. And then you might ask them, say, how's it going? They say, not really good because I'm driving around all day. Follow the system, follow the process.
As Jim says in training on obviously the day 3, he's like, you got to maximum, condense your route.
Condense. Any customers you don't want, sell them off.
Yeah.
Cash it in.
So do you want to talk about then the customer selling ability? So I think that's another unique part of the system.
How unique is that?
Yeah.
So if you've got a handful of customers, hopefully, or predominantly, if you can get around $800 to $1,000 worth of a regular run, we can sell that for you and give you 80% of the sale proceeds. And in fact, in our region in New South Wales, we've convinced our existing franchisees to join the 2% club, as I mentioned before. So jumping from 1% market share to 2%. And they're selling off their clients. Number one, they're going to make extra money, 80%. Number two, we're going to have another van locally compounding the message. And then also for them, it creates a tighter run. There's so much benefits in it.
Keeps them happier. They don't have to worry about the stress of employees. They get their cash injection, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Around the COVID time, we kind of encouraged most of our franchisees to employ people, which was a good idea at the time. But most of them Most of them do have at least one or two employees. Some have 10 to 15. But we've kind of worked out employing people is not really an easy thing to do due to the changes of OH&S laws and WorkSafe, and the cleaning industry is the only industry with a portable, what was it again? Long service leave. Did you know that?
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
No.
So if you leave a cleaning business and then go to another one, you're long service.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So meaning, if you want to employ someone, there's a lot of mechanics that go behind it.
Yeah.
And how much really can you make per hour profit of an employee? It probably averages around $5 an hour. So if you sold a run, your profit margin could be around about $20,000 as a lump sum. Divide that by $5 per hour per employee. It's a lot of staff that you need to be able to save $20,000. So why bother? Just build a run, sell it off. Build a run, sell it off. It's just such an easier way of doing it.
Now, do you have franchisees who've come to that conclusion and doing that more and more often now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't remember names off the top of my head, but the people who understood this years ago, most of those guys are now my franchisors who own areas, because they split off so many times that they were able to make huge profit in their lives. And with those profits, they're able to buy regions. And Bill Cobanoglu is one of those. I think he sold about 7 splits when he was a franchisee. And then from that, he bought regions. And look at him now. He's
doing very, very well.
superstar, you know?
Yeah.
So he got it, and he got it like 20 years ago. And some franchisees are getting it. And we are now trying to educate more in that area.
Yeah, because people see and they hear, they've got 20 staff, and they must think it's an insanely profitable business when they need 20 staff. But as you know, there's people come with problems. There's always a lot of issues, and you might be making all this extra revenue, but your profitability might not be reflective of all that extra work you're putting in.
True.
Yeah.
And then it's just huge risk. Like as soon as something goes wrong, I mean, all that profit that you made, you can actually lose it all. If a franchisee, if one of your workers weren't trained properly, and then something happened in their work time, you could be held responsible. And look, we do try and protect you as much as we can, but things happen, you know.
But I think it's a unique part of the gyms. I don't know many other systems that have the splits, or they allow franchisees to do that whilst they're a franchisee. Maybe if they're exiting the business or something, but not whilst they're a current franchisee and to stay on. I think it's a really unique part of the system.
I know, I love it.
And something should people be aware of.
I think that was part of Mowing's secret as well.
Yeah.
They were splitting years ago where we weren't. We were just selling new ones, and that's how they had their rapid growth. But now we're onto it. So
You're onto it, you catch them up.
Yeah.
And I was going to say then as well, fees. Fees is something that we always see online, and if we're in gyms, we go, that's just wrong thing what people have in their mind about fees, which is why we keep talking about it. So do you want to talk about the fee structure with the cleaning group and how it operates?
Well, we break up the fees into a few components. One is like the advertising levy. It's around $160. In total, it equals around $800 a month in base fee. Then we charge a lead fee, and that's around $16 or $17 per lead that you take. But we only charge that once only. And what that does is, if your customer calls back 6 months later or a year later, that lead goes straight back to you for free. And what that does, that encourages the franchisee to do good work, to keep getting those free leads to come back.
Yeah.
So if the average is $800 of monthly fees, if your turnover's $3,000 a month times 4.2 divided by 800, I think it equals around 6%. If you were to compare it via percentages, around 6. Is it 6%?
Yeah, it's around 6%.
6%. It was the average.
Yeah.
6% is pretty low, you know.
And that's working off the average sort of franchisee. There's a lot of franchisees who make far more and all that sort of stuff. So it's barely fair.
You know, I saw this window cleaning guy. He made $40-something thousand in a month.
Gee, is that Jacob up there? Or was it
he was one of them.
Yeah.
There was a few of them.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I don't make that. Maybe I need to go back on the tools, you know.
Because I remember, for those who don't know, there's an interview with Jacob on the podcast, and Jacob was a plumber, and you think a plumber coming to do window cleaning, you thought you'd be making more money as a plumber.
Yes.
He's like, nah. And
Pretty good.
And he talks about those revenue figures and stuff. It's quite good money.
So 40,000 to pay, let's say $1,000 in fees.
Yeah,
mate, it's a pretty good deal to me.
it's a great. And after tax, obviously people have different tax structures and all that sort of stuff, but it's a pretty. You can do the math. It's a pretty good level of income compared to a corporate job or whatever else you're doing.
I know. And, you know, even to buy in is pretty affordable. Yeah. On average, the territory price is around 20 grand plus startup costs. Startup is your equipment, your training, your uniforms, signage for your vehicle. That's around about 10 grand. So 30,000 to buy a business.
Well, I interviewed a franchisee called Bruno and he reckons he paid off his franchise in 5 or 6 weeks. So you can work it out how much he was doing and how well he was doing. But I was going to say, because there's a misconception. A lot of people think you need to pay 200 grand or 300 grand to buy one of those quick service restaurant or another franchise like that. And then the rate of return compared to 30 grand and the first month or first 2 months, you can generate a 40K month. I don't think people get the...
It just sounds too good to be true. Yeah. That's probably why.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only thing, the way I can describe it. Why? But then again, you know, we're signing up, the Gyms Group is signing up over 100 franchisees a month. So the message is out there. It's pretty good.
I think people just need to get out of this sort of own multiple QSR franchises and all that sort of stuff, as opposed to just these, the window and pressure cleaning guy or the cleaning guy or something like that. I think it's a far more, from what I can tell with the franchisees, far more enjoyable lifestyle doing that. You don't feel as though you're an employee.
True.
You can take time off. You don't have to be there 24/7.
True.
You don't have the headaches of the franchisor going, you need to change your signage and you're forcing you to pay this extra money to do this. Yeah. I think and the return on investment is far quicker.
True.
And how quickly are you going to pay for 200 grand QSR franchise compared to the 30 grand gyms one?
Big difference. Yeah.
And when you say people think it's too good to be true, obviously we always say go for an observation day.
Yeah.
But what else would you encourage them to sort of get over that? If they do think that, what would you sort of say to them?
The observation day is the best
because
you can actually talk to a franchisee who's bought the business and who's running it. He's not a salesman or anything like that. Whereas if you're talking to the office, we need to sell it, right? But the franchisee doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best way. But what we're trialling now, I think Bill has done this in Adelaide already. We're having information seminars.
Yep.
So we hire out a room. We invite whoever wants to come and have a listen. That's a good thing to do. So look out for those observation days. Or just ask us for a list of our current franchisees in your area and just have a chat on the phone.
Yeah.
You don't even have to go on observation day. Just do it on the phone. Or send out a few emails,
Yeah.
That's probably the best way. But like I said, we're not begging to sell these either. To sell 100 franchises a month on an average of 30 grand a pop, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot.
That's a lot of people. And there's training here today.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are so full. We need.
Yeah, we have parking problems and, like, it's something that we should all be proud of. How good is it?
It is. And I think for young people as well, I think it's a really good opportunity. A lot of young people are sold uni or trade, and that's you get paid crap for 4 years and then you're a tradie. But we've got a lot of people who are plumbers and electricians now buying Jim's window and pressure cleaning or Jim's cleaning franchise, getting out of the trade to come and do it because of the deal and what they can do as well.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they're proud to be part of a brand as well. I could have done Haydar's cleaning. I'm sure I would have been successful. In fact, I did try.
Yeah, I've seen your card.
Yeah, I did. I did try. Yeah. But you quickly realise that I want to be part of a brand, part of like a McDonald's or a Hungry Jack's or whatever it might be. So by using the power of the brand, there's so much benefits. It opens so many doors.
I think it's such a uniquely Australian brand as well. You see a lot of memes online. I think that's the way you can tell a brand strength. You got Bunnings, you got Dan Murphy's, you have Jim's Mowing or Jim's Cleaning, Jim's Group in general.
Yeah.
I think the logo is just like an Australian business sort of great story with Jim as well. People know his story, so I think people like to support that. And the great thing that people should also know, it's a privately held Aussie company. I think it's massively important. You have a lot of private equity mobs or franchises listed on the stock exchange, and it completely changes the experience for the franchisees. Whereas that Jim will never ever sell, it's always going to be a privately owned Aussie company.
I love that part of it. And where the call centre's still here in Australia.
Yeah.
Those things do make a big difference. Like I said, we're a numbers game. So the more numbers we have, the more profit we can make. So we're not actually trying to make profit from 10 franchisees. And a lot of those other mobs, they have to make profit off the 10. We don't. Been there and done that. Massive now.
Absolutely. And I was going to say as well, you got cleaning products. So
we do.
We see the gym's cleaning products. Maybe you want to talk about that and why. And are our customers becoming more conscious to what actually cleaners use in their home?
They are.
Yeah.
The customers are, and our franchisees are as well. Years ago we used to have a lot of insurance claims where we used to damage surfaces of tables and timber floors and stuff. So we went out looking for some solutions. We came across these enzyme-based products, and the company was called Enzyme Wizard. So we sort of met with them. We're using their product. We changed the scent a little bit, and we rebranded it to ours. And we've been using that over 10 years or so, and we haven't had one insurance claim yet from those products. So the customers are asking for it, the franchisees are asking for it, because it's actually safe for the user as well.
Yeah.
If you're using acids all day, especially if you're using it from a sprayer, which is emulsifier, which makes it airborne into 1 million pieces, and you're breathing acids into your lungs every day, it's a very, very bad thing to do. So by using the plant-based enzyme products, you're protecting yourself and your customers as well.
I think one great product is the oven cleaner, because I remember I've interviewed a few franchisees in the field, and I go to them, what job do you like doing? They always say oven clean, because the customers tried it at home, they can't do it, or they're using these toxic things, and then they come in and they use the oven cleaner, and they can completely do it.
I remember when I was researching the oven products, our competitors' products. It's for safety. You needed gloves up to here. You needed a mask. You have to open the window. I thought, what the hell? Our one, you don't have to. You can even do it with bare hands. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, no, it's great to see those results online when we see the transformations as well.
We're trying, Joel. We're trying our best to have the best products for our franchisees, the best uniforms for our franchisees, the best amount of work. We continuously try and improve every single day.
Yeah, because I should ask you that. So you guys at Kleber, you got a massive head office where everyone, you have meetings and stuff, but you have all the uniforms there for them as well. You have the full packs of equipment. You have all these things ready for them to go.
Again, with the same as the products, we source the world for the best fabrics, and we designed uniforms specifically for our franchisees, which is comfortable to wear. Sweating is a problem because we work indoors, so there's no smell from sweaty tops and polyester tops. They're long lasting. You can wash them many, many times. So we supply that to our franchisees as well. Initially in a starter pack, and then they can just repurchase. The problem with they're so good quality, they don't buy ongoingly, but it is what it is.
And you're always adding to products. I know you got a new car detailing one as well that's out. So maybe you want to tell us about that one?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Ali was successful enough to bring a chemical from Turkey into Australia. So we've got the product exclusivity on that. And we trialled it with our franchisees for the last 2 years, and amazing. The product's called Nasiol, which is the maker of car care products and the third largest company in the world that does it. And a lot of the products that you see around the world is their product rebranded. So now we supply most of our franchisees with that product, especially the ceramic coating products, which is the ZR53, I think it was. And now we've opened it to the market as well for DIY people to use, just as some sort of thank you to Australia for supporting us for all these years.
Awesome. And I was going to also ask about the training side of it.
Yeah.
So do you want to just tell people about the training program that you do with the cleaning group divisions?
With the new franchisees that come
on board?
Yeah, the
new franchisees that come on board.
The new ones come to an induction program. So it's 3 days business training with the gyms group, and they get to meet Jim Penman and all the fully trained presenters. And then we do 2 days of cleaning specific training, which is business only, how to deal with clients, how to upsell, how to use the chemicals and a few other bits and pieces. And then we ask our whoever's joining us to go out on the road for 10 days with an experienced franchisee who's one of our trainers. So after the 5 days, mate, they're pretty good at what they do.
That's pretty comprehensive. And I was going to say as well, another question you probably get all the time, which I'll ask you is, how much will I make? So do you want to talk maybe about the pay for it guarantee, and then also maybe talk about potential, what is possible from franchisees,
Sure. Well, how much can you make is entirely dependent on you. If you get up at 10:30 a.m. and finish at 3 p.m., you're not going to make too much, right? But if you're a hard worker and you work 5, 6 days, 7 days a week, you make a lot of money. Especially if you're not traveling as much, building your business close to home, you'll make more money. If you satisfy your clients and you get referrals, you're going to make more money because you can get more. You can quote higher for a referral because it's referred. You don't have to convince anyone how good you are. They've actually been told how good you are. So how much can you make depends on you. We do have a work guarantee. It's around about $1,500, if I'm not wrong, a week, which is like your safety net. But most of our franchisees can make that in 2 or 3 days. And then you've got 4 days to make more than that.
Yeah, it's very rarely needed. So a lot of people that gets them in sometimes, but it's very rarely needed at all.
You really shouldn't even look at that. We should probably get rid of it. We hardly ever pay it anyway. Yeah, there's no need.
Absolutely.
$1,500, like I said, you can make that in 2 days.
And what's the standout story from you over the years with a franchisee?
Oh, there's so many. It's the ones who just scrape enough money to buy a franchise, and they're renting, and and then you hear stories where sometime later they buy a house or they buy multiple houses and they update their car and then they get married and have a baby, and it's sort of all connected to this income that they're getting from our franchise. That makes me feel good.
Well, your business has made a lot of wealthy people over the years, and you mentioned one, Bill. Bill's a good case. He came as a franchisee, and now he's got his division, and he's obviously heaps of regions as well, and he's heaps of franchisees, and that started with the cleaning group. So
it is.
Yeah.
He bought a franchise off me. That was the first thing that he bought. And he wasn't sure if he should buy it or not, so he actually bought it off me on vendor terms. So he paid me off slowly. Just to be sure. Like, he could have paid for it, but he didn't. And now look at him now. He's probably wealthier than me.
And I was going to say as well, business-wise, you've been in business for a long time now.
Yes.
20 years sounds like a long time, but it's not really to create as many franchises as you've done. And I don't think in the public you get maybe as much attention as you should. I know it's Jim's group and Jim, but you've done in isolation, your story is pretty impressive. Like, you'd be one of the biggest franchisors in Australia and the Southern Hemisphere. So how have you built it from literally nothing to where you are now over 20 years? Like, is there any philosophies or is there any advice you can talk about scaling a company?
Yeah. Well, these days, I have multiple income streams within my business. So, I obviously own the contracts department, which is very good income, the uniforms, the chemicals, the franchises. But what I do is I consider my business all the income as a whole. So if I was to develop an area for new franchisees, I would invest all the money that I have from everything into it, because I know that would then come and be part of everything as well. So some franchisors tell me, I don't want to sell a franchise there because I'm going to need $5,000 a month in advertising to get them going. And from the sale proceeds, it doesn't balance. It's not enough money. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as, I've got all this money over here. Might as well give this area a go, spend the $5,000, maybe $10,000, doesn't matter, because I've got all this. Get it going. Suddenly I've got a very happy franchisee who then promotes franchise sales in that area for me. And before I know it, I'll have 30 franchisees there. That's one of my philosophies. It's very hard to understand by many franchisors, but that's the way I do it. And I think Bill is another guy who does it that way as well. We don't do the numbers of just that one isolated area. You do the numbers of the whole business itself.
Yeah, you're investing for long-term growth, and that's what you're doing. Yeah, and you're happy to do it, whereas other people might hesitate at that initial lump sum.
Correct.
So, yeah.
So by doing that, we can get our rapid growth. The goal is always to have happy franchisees, because the happier that franchisee is, the more referrals he's going to give you for others to join. And you can spend millions of dollars advertising to get franchise inquiries, but it's so much money to spend hundreds of dollars making a franchisee happy who's going to get you more inquiries than your millions of dollars.
I should have mentioned support, but how do you support them to keep them happy?
These days we have a support team. So we have with flagship franchises where we have support that works from my office on the phone and on the computer. Managed by Ali, our CEO, and that seems to be working really, really well. So we have a support team, and then we have a separate sales team. So in the past, we used to have franchisors all spread out across the country, which worked pretty well in most areas, but in some areas it didn't, and it used to stress me out because I was out of control. I wasn't there. I couldn't see what they do. I was just always guessing that they were doing well, but these days, because they're owned by us or owned by the head office, we can control every little component of our business. Years ago, we used to have around about 73 franchisors spread out over the country. Now it's dropped down to just under 40. So we still have franchisors, but we do have a support team based in my office as well.
And I was going to say as well, how else have you been able to scale it? So you mentioned about looking at other parts you can invest in for long-term growth. Has there been any other things you've done to help grow the business over the years?
The biggest thing is just satisfy those franchisees. We came out with this program once. Every new franchisee has to go through a 12-week
induction program. They get like little tips and stuff.
Yep. I forgot what was it called?
Just 12-week program, I think.
Or 13-week.
13-week program.
13-week program.
Yeah.
So into that program, we've built, in that 13 weeks, if you refer someone else to buy a franchise, we'll give you $2,000 as a referral fee. So if you can refer 10 people in that 13 weeks, you've paid off your business.
Not bad.
So while you're training in that 13-week period, you can pay off your business. And that worked really well.
It's a good idea.
I know, and I've just blown it. I've just shared it. But that's okay.
But they're only going to refer you if they're happy. So that's the thing. They've got to be happy, right? So you've got to invest in... Yeah.
They always are. Because in that 13 weeks, it's like still the honeymoon period. It's just a perfect time to get those referrals. On average, most franchisees pay off their businesses within 3 months, even without that program.
It's a great return on investment.
100%.
You can't do that in anything else.
No, 100%. And then it's still, don't forget, you never lose your franchise. It's value.
Yes.
You can build it up and hopefully sell it for more than what you bought it for. Over 10 years ago, we had a franchisee who bought their business for around $11K. It was like a bit of a fire sale. She worked it for a few years. She did a split, I think, for $85,000. She split off some of it.
Must have been very valuable.
Yeah. And then sometime later, like a year or so later, she sold the whole thing for $165,000.
Pretty good money.
It's not
Plus
bad.
the income she's getting on regularly from it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it can be done. Another good story is from training to their first split, the shortest period was 3 months.
It's pretty good.
So they've started, 3 months later, they've sold off, got this lump sum 20 grand check. There's a lot you can do with a 20 grand check, mate.
Absolutely. I was going to say as well, what makes a good franchisee then? So what do you guys look for? Who's the type of person that does really well in gyms? What should they ask themselves as a question?
Well, the best franchisees are the ones who want to satisfy their customer. Not just for the money. Obviously, you have to get paid for what you do, but your main goal is to satisfy your client or your customer. So if you can satisfy that customer, what's going to happen? They're going to pay you easily because they're satisfied. Number two, they're going to refer you to other people, which is great, to all their friends and stuff. Thirdly, they're going to call you back. So much benefit. So the franchisee who's that way inclined, that's the one that's going to do well, because they're not always just going to rely on leads. Now, we said leads were around $16. They actually do add up. If you got 10 leads a week, that's $160. So, but if you do good work, you don't need leads, mate. You just need referrals. And how are you going to get it? Just do good work. And if we can have more of those, we're going to have more unserviced jobs, but what do you do?
What can you do? You're exactly right. There is a lot of unserviced leads. I think last year we had 245 unserviced leads in the gyms group, which is amazing for the numbers considering, and also the economic environment too. You know, obviously with interest rates and stuff, and to still have that number was quite impressive.
But it's still sad though that we had to say no to those customers.
It is. Yeah. It is. We want to keep them in the gym system, so that's the key for us. I was going to say as well then, Haydar, other business advice. What else is some business advice that you've learned over the journey?
Never think you know everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can learn something every single day or every single minute, and you can learn it from anybody. It could be a 5-year-old child or the guy at the local 7-Eleven. You're always learning, and whatever you learn, obviously implement it into your business and just try and make things better and better every single day. And there's nothing wrong with copying either. Snoop around, see what mowing's doing or what our competitors are doing, and see if you can implement that into your business to make your business better. And that's kind of, I've become the master of that. Most of my time is spent on how I can improve this thing. So I don't actually do day-to-day work anymore. I just look at ways of improving it.
Well, that's the high-level stuff, right, isn't it? A lot of people get bogged down in doing all the little things and emails and this and that. They never actually think about why they're doing things or how to do it better, right? So is that something you learned from Jim? Because I know Jim's pretty big on that.
Yeah, exactly. I think I learned it or copied it. I don't know how it worked. But I've added to the way Jim does it. I like to travel the world and look around.
He won't do that.
Look around, and maybe there's something in Ibiza that we can implement in our business.
I'm sure there is some of those beach clubs there. I'm sure there's some things we can do.
Yeah.
But is there anything else, Haydar, that you want to say today before we leave this with the interview?
Just thank you again for the opportunity, for everyone involved. Maybe let's remind Jim Penman again. Jim's Cleaning, we're catching up. Within the next 24 months, we will be bigger than Jim's Mowing. We will be. You
heard it there, Jim, and the franchisors in Jim's Mowing. So we'll see if that challenges them a little bit. But as I said before, you know, you're one of the biggest franchisors in Australia.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that you can get more recognition because you deserve it.
True.
And I think that I think we were talking before, but the amount of thousands and thousands of families and new Australians as well have been changed by the franchise, and there are a lot of them are heavily indebted to you personally, still from years ago, from what I know.
True.
So it's not just there as a money making exercise. No. You make better families. You give people opportunities.
Yeah.
And you know, they always are indebted to you. I met a guy from Jim's Cleaning. This is another story.
Yeah.
But I went to a service station in Bentley. And I had to go in there, and the guy goes to me, "Oh, Joel." I said, "How do you know me?" I didn't know him. And he goes to me, "Oh, I used to be a Jim's Cleaning franchisee."
Wow.
I said, "Oh," I say, "Well, so what are you doing here?" He goes, "Love the business, but I always wanted to do a petrol station. So the Jim's Cleaning franchise allowed me to buy the petrol station."
There you go.
I think he owned a couple of petrol stations.
There you go.
So a guy's come, new Australian, done the Jim's Cleaning franchise vehicle, made a great income, and then obviously scaled up to do the petrol station or whatever he wanted to do. I thought that was just how good is that for the brand, that a positive a franchisee who's no longer with us, but positive things to say. And it's been able to make it with the petrol station, which you wanted to do from the business.
It's good that you tell me that because I actually love hearing those stories. And there's a lot of them. And in fact, whoever does leave us, and look, we can't keep everybody, right? We make sure that the exit is not so painful.
Yes.
You know, we try and sell their business or whatever it might take to make them leave on a happy note.
Well, I think it's amazing because we got the Franchise Expo again this year, but I had one last year, a guy who was in Jim's Cleaning franchisee for around 6 years.
Yeah.
And wanted to do an interview on camera about how good Jim's Cleaning was, even though he hasn't been with us for a while, which I just thought,
there you go.
It's amazing things like that for the Jim's brand. I think if you're looking at multiple options, I think those little things are really stick in my head about why people choose gyms and the benefits of being with gyms. So
there must be so many stories out there. So good on you for interviewing as many as you can.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Check out the podcast. We've got a lot of Jim's Cleaning interviews there. Jim's Carpet Cleaning, all divisions on there. So check them out. As well, do the observation day. But thanks, Haydar. Thanks for your time, mate. And let's see if we can get mowing in 1 or 2 years. I'm sure we'll have to think of a big surprise for that one.
It's guaranteed, mate. It's going to happen. I'll make sure it happens.